Show. Well, guys, this week's positivity talk, all right, is coming to you. To give you guys a little bit of a backstory as far as for how this week kind of came about. I was sitting there thinking about just a few of the different topics that you'll. Yeah, I will need someone to guide me through the wee hour shadow. I'm gonna need a lot of people. I'm gonna need a lot of help that day. Glad that I have you guys as a community that that are so amazing. You'll see the total here once I go to the game screen about how much we've raised and everything else and the bits for kids and everything. So, but how we came to the point at which whenever I was looking at what should we do for positivity talk, because each week we talk about a different subject. And I've realized, possibly last week was a little bit more conceptual, and I don't feel like I don't feel like there was a lot of communication regarding the like the actual steps that you can be doing to be positive about it. I feel like it was in there. It just wasn't like a big part of it. And I know that a lot of them are kind of like that. Like I have about 3 steps that you can do just to be able to help out. And I wanted to make one that was kind of almost dedicated to like action items, right? And so love is something that you act out, right? It's a feeling, but you act it out. So I wanted to have a positivity talk, one that was almost like today is going to be littered with stuff about how you can actually act on these different things. So pumpkin pie is good, dude. I love pumpkin pie popcorn. And Leo, what's going on, brother? Welcome back. And also I saw that for some odd reason, I don't know why it didn't show up on my feed, but which will be over there. But I noticed whenever I was setting everything up for the stream that you resubbed. So thank you. I want to tell you thank you very much for that. That sub, for everybody who's new in here or may not know, 100% of the proceeds from subs and bits goes towards Extra Life. So you can sub, and even in September, 100% of the money still comes to us and still goes to Extra Life, but it only costs you half as much. So pretty good month to do that. Just as a heads up. So I'll try to watch the whole stream, the 25-hour one. Popcorn, if you get 25 hours, I really don't know what I'd do. I'd celebrate you somehow, because for someone to hang out for 25 hours, it's hard enough for me to game for 25 hours, but for someone to hang out for that amount of time, like, that's pretty impressive. Guys, I hope that you're there during that time. Like, don't get me wrong, I would love for you guys to be there because you guys energize me. The kindness that you show and the support is amazing. But do not feel like I expect people to be there for the entire 25 hours. Okay, that is ludicrous. I am not telling you to risk sleep and everything else to be there. While I appreciate it, I want you to be healthy, and trust me, staying up for 25 hours is not healthy. So I love you and all, but sleep, right? No, trust me, for serious, Katie. Like, for just a minute, just yeah, get some sleep. So, and what's going on, Jay? How are you? But yeah, guys, so with this positivity talk and talking about the 5 love languages, Monsters and Mountain Dew have been stocked up. Oh, jeez, Leo. Yeah, you'll definitely want some water, and you definitely want to eat some right stuff. And I'll be talking a little bit about that as the stream comes up, just so that for those of you who are getting ready to do either your first 24-hour game-a-thon, or what, you guys can be a little bit prepared for that if you guys are participating in that this year. So, but again, so going back with that positivity sock, so we're going to be talking about those 5 love languages. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's basically it's a book, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But it's something that, while I feel to set up this talk, I want to say that I feel that this has a good concept. I feel like it's a good wrapping of love, so it has really good action items that you can do. I am not saying that this one is going to be all encompassing. However, it is 5 very, very noticeable and pretty tried and true and tested methods of being able to show love. And so I wanted to talk about that because we want to talk about those action items. So we'll go ahead and we'll kick her off here. And just kind of start talking about it. So first off, just like every single talk, first off, thank you all so much for being here. The reason why I do these talks is, and the reason why we kind of go over all these different things is because not only you all as a community, but everybody that's out there, I want to be able to better people's lives. That's what I feel like my passion is. That's what I feel like my purpose is to be able to not only bring entertainment, but bring a certain side that probably not a lot of gamers see. Honestly, that probably not a lot of Twitch sees, and but it's something that is pretty crucial to have, and that's positivity, right? And so I talk about these things on Tuesdays to be able to bring you not only awareness, but a different way to think about how you can choose to do something with your life. I'm not saying that these are like the end all be alls. I'm not saying that this is like something that you need to go ahead and slap down as being the absolute truth. The reason why I really like all of you being here on this channel is so that we can have a discussion. Now, I will say that a lot of things that I've done, I've done research on it. I've not only looked it up, but I've practiced it. I've studied it. That's literally, it's been my job for the better part of 7 years. So, and I also went to college for it. So there's a lot of things that I've done to be able to get to this point. But that doesn't mean that what we're talking about isn't ever open for discussion. So the one this week is going to be a little tough because it's kind of based off of a book and sayings. But what I would love is you guys to kind of chime in and talk about, hey, by the way, kind of like this, or like X, or like Y, or like Z, or I have an idea about how you can show that, or maybe show something different, or something that works out for me. Like, that would be awesome. So if you're tuning in on this, whether that's here live right now on twitch.tv/Rufio with 2 O's and 3 H's, or if you're watching this on a highlight reel, or whether you're watching this on YouTube, we do this every Tuesday starting at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So we'd love you guys to be there as well if you're not here right now and you're just watching it later on. So as far as for just love in and of itself, like, everyone has and will always have an emotional need for love, right? Like, from the time that we're babies to the time that we leave this earth, like, your fundamental needs are, as kind of like Maslow and a couple other ones talk about, your fundamental needs are for security, self-worth, and significance, which, like, love really affects all three in a way that nothing else can, right? Like that nothing else can. It's innate in us. It lives there. But the cool thing is not just that we get it, but we give it as well in such a unique way. So like take for instance, like, most animals, 99% of all animals, as far as we know, right? As far as we know, love for a purpose to further the species and to keep, like, their species going, right? Like they do it for certain aspects, for whether that's, strength or color, or looking a certain way, whatever it is. That's like what they do. They have a X plus Y equals Z type of situation. So, but humans, on the other hand, obviously, we use love in multiple different ways, different levels, different relationships, and it's so cool. It's so intriguing to see how we can use this powerful force that has shaped the world in so many different ways. Like, it's honestly the most powerful force on earth. Whenever you look at it, right? Like, because of love, empires have started and crumbled. Beautiful moments, beautiful monuments have been made, and the impossible has happened. Like, think about, like, Helen of Troy, of destroying something, right? Or like the Taj Mahal, right? That was literally made from love. Like, they wanted something because they love somebody. They made this. Like, and that is a gorgeous thing. And just impossible things have happened. So, like, it's incredible. So, like, this is a no-brainer how love it relates strictly to positivity. So we're going to focus on more of, like, a particular part of love and how to express it, and going over the 5 love languages, right? So for the book that I was talking about earlier, the book is by Gary Chapman, so it's literally called The 5 Love Languages, right? It's straight in there. Penguins mate for life. The male brings the female a pebble, and if she puts it in her nest, they're together forever. Your knowledge of penguins astounds me, Jay. But for one, that's adorable, right? And not only that, isn't it the males that sit there and cover the eggs? Isn't that what happens? Like, they basically make it through the winter. Like, it's crazy. Some of those penguins are crazy. So today we're going to be looking at more of, like, some of the how-tos, mainly because, like, ideas are ideas, and even good ideas are only going to be able to stay just like that and only be ideas, and they're not going to affect the world if you don't put them in place, right? Like, if you don't put them in practice. So Kind of like the old saying goes from the Beatles, all you need is love, right? So the 5 love languages, what are they, right? So they are words of affirmation, they are quality time, they are gifts, they are acts of service, and they are physical touch, right? So those 5. Again, words of affirmation. We'll kind of do this like the reverse German or European way right here, right? So words of affirmation, quality time, gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. What, right? So Little Blue Ring, do you listen to JRE? No, I do not know what JRE is. I don't know. So whenever you're talking about these 5 different love languages, one thing to touch on is why this is important. And Freebird, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the community. Thank you. And it's not that loving someone in any one of these versus the other is wrong. So whenever you're looking at this and we're going through this talk, it's important to keep that in mind. It's just that learning which one can go further, right? It can go further, and you're going to love someone better. And it can really excel relations. It can grow your relationships, and you can actually grow deeper in community and in love with another individual, whether that's in a friendship or whether that's your significant other or even if it's with a family member. The reason for this is because at that point you are choosing, right? You are acting and you are choosing to love this person, which is huge. And honestly, like they say that like love covers a multitude of sins, especially when you recognize that sometimes people are trying to love you just in a different way that you probably value in a high regard, right? So it's not just going and like, hey, I want to learn how to be able to love others, which is great, which is a big purpose of that. But also by knowing this, you're going to realize whenever someone is loving you, right? You could look at that and be like, man, I don't know why they keep doing this or anything like that. That may be their love language that they're trying to give to you, and they're actually trying to love you without you even knowing it. You're kind of like, all right, dude, that's cool. Like, that was really awesome of you. That was really thoughtful. So it's being aware of these 5 love languages that can really further your, not only just your ability to love others, but your appreciation of others loving you, which is huge, right? Like that's really cool, and that can again grow relationships. So loving someone is a choice to act on a feeling, right? Like you can have infatuation, and I can tell you from being married, like you can love someone, but if you don't ever act on it, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to know that, right? Like if you don't ever tell someone that or you don't ever express it, how are they ever going to know? And without you knowing, you're always going to just have that idea of like, well, it's kind of like that crush that you had back in like grade school that you never told them, right? You just kind of like sat there and you kind of giggled in the corner and you never did anything about it. And so that's kind of like what love is without the action. It's just like you're sitting there and you won't ever know. Like, granted, that's a way to not ever get hurt, but you're also never going to be able to appreciate the great benefits that love has. So we're going to go ahead and jump in, and I'm just going to go over each one of those and just a few different things so we can look on how to maximize your choices whenever you're going up there and being able to talk with someone and figure out what their love language is, right? So the first one that we're talking about in there, words of affirmation, okay? Words of affirmation. So statements like, you're awesome, or you have really pretty eyes, or you're hilarious, or you're like you really mean a lot to me, right? Like all of these are words of affirmation. So basically, you're giving someone compliments. Mr. J is an affirmation person. That's awesome, Jay. And so it's honestly like whenever you think about it, whenever you look at all of the different ones, this is a great way to be able to love someone, because one, I don't want to say that it's a cheap way to love somebody, but and not only that, it's not like saying, hey, it takes the least amount of effort, but whenever you think of it from a resource standpoint, like it basically doesn't take a whole lot of time, it doesn't cost a whole lot of money, and it just kind of it's like a compliment, right? Like you're right there, and as soon as you say that to somebody, or you call them and talk with them, you text them, you put it into Twitch, you do whatever, like in respects to the other 4, like you're really only like even if this doesn't work, if this isn't the way that they want to be able to be loved, you're really only wasting breath. Like, you're still trying at this. So like, words of affirmation is a great way to love somebody. And that's awesome that Mr. J is an affirmation person, because whenever you look at that, one thing that you need to do whenever you're doing that is realize what you're going to be saying to them, right? Because like for me, I am partly a words of affirmation person as well, but it's in a way of like, whenever people say things like, "Oh man, you totally just did this. Awesome job, dude." I like that, and that's something that fills my cup. But whenever someone says that they are proud of me, I'm not joking with you. I can still remember, okay, for those of you who are in this channel who have said I'm I'm proud of what you're doing, or I'm really thankful for you doing these positivity talks. I remember every single one of you that have said that. I remember every one, and I can tell you it by name, literally off the top of my head. And the reason for that is because whenever someone says that they're proud of me, I know that my parents had thought that. I wasn't told that until I was 19 years old, ever. And so that was something that I always heard of other people, and had always heard about of others, but I felt like I didn't ever really deserve it. And so now whenever I get that, I'm like, holy moly, like, these people are proud of me and they're proud of what I've done. Like, that means that not only do they love me, but they love what I'm doing as well, and they love my character for it. And so it's something that goes a long way with me. So while like Mr. J, he may be something to where like some people, for words of affirmation, they want to know about what they look like, or if they spend a lot of time on their appearance. For me, if someone came up and said, "Hey, by the way, like, you look really nice today," that doesn't really come a whole lot with me, right? Like, for one, my appearance, I feel like it's fun. Like, I like my beard, but it's not something that I put a whole lot of work into. But I bet the people who get dressed up, who take very good care of their appearance, they're probably wanting those words of affirmation, right? So and you're going to be noticing this with a lot of them. I'm going to be talking about different ways that you can do this. So just remember that the opposite of this, okay, the opposite of words of affirmation are ways that you basically hurt or harm somebody. So like, whenever you do that, it like, insults to these people will have lasting scars on their heart. So you need to be very, very, very careful about people who have words of affirmation as far as for something that's positive to them, because by doing something negative is going to literally swing you the opposite way, and it's going to hurt a lot more. So these are the people who, whenever you hear these things like, "Can you believe what this person said about me?" Right? Like, those are the people who need those words of affirmation. So be thinking of that whenever you talk about that. And Pug, you'll crush that chair. You'll crush that chair tomorrow for orchestra. I know you will. That is Katie right there. That saying. So that very last part of it, my wife actually has tattooed right on her wrist. So it is a great saying for what love is, and I couldn't agree with it more. Because it's a selfless gesture, and it seeks out to be able to bring out the best in people. So love is great, man. And what's going on, Studs? How are you, buddy? How are you? How's that? I bet you're loving that baby right now. I bet you're loving the crap out of that baby. And by the way, thank you again for sharing her on stream the other day. That was adorable. So that's words of affirmation, right? Quality time. This is the second one. Quality time. This, in my opinion, is one of the things that should come as the easiest things that we can do, but yet it's often the most difficult in our society today, right? And the reason why I say that, so bear with me, and it's probably just for me, honestly, but everything in this day and age is trying to steal our attention away. Everything is locking up to be able to get our attention. So whether that's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, emails, work, problems that's gonna happen, somebody's yard's going crazy, natural disaster, like, there's a lot of things that are stealing our attention, right? That's in there, and it's really easy to go towards that because some of those things like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that. It's quick, it's instant, it's cheap, it's something that gives you a rush of endorphins, and it's simple to do. So your brain always is trying just naturally to try and be able to get the best point, like the highest point in you for the lowest cost. because that's what we've trained ourselves to do over, you know, a long time to be able to live as a species. So, and Studs, I'm doing great, man. Thank you for asking. How's your sleep going, buddy? And so, but whenever you do this, whenever you spend quality time with someone, and again, the word that I wanna emphasize here on quality time is not time, but it's quality time. Okay, that quality part. No phones, putting yourself in the possibility of being bored, paying complete attention to somebody, right? Giving them the stare down right there, right into the eyes. Being just ever present in the here and now. Like if you make time for quality activities and even plan ahead if necessary, these go huge. These go huge with people. And congrats, Guitar. Nice dude on the shirt. And so whenever you do that, right? Like for me, my wife, her biggest thing is quality time. That's the way that she wants love. She wants to be with me, and she wants to have time with me, which is awesome. Like, how cool is that she wants to spend more time with me? Like, I feel honored and privileged to be able to have that. And so even by you guys being here, like the quality time with that's a way to show that as well, right? And so whenever you're doing this, guys, the opposite of this, I'd spend more time with you. Oh, what's going on, Akisora? Hey guys, Akisora just had a birthday. Be sure to drop him a happy birthday, happy belated birthday. I really hope that you had an amazing birthday, my man. I stayed on your channel for a while, and I'm really thankful that from what I saw, you were having an incredible birthday, my man. Love it. I love it. So with quality time, the opposite of this is honestly not only just not kind of prioritizing things in front of that, because I'll go ahead and tell you this: if someone ever says I'm too busy to do X, that statement is false beyond belief. But whenever the real thing, what they're saying is I have different priorities, okay? And that's not that they're not trying to knock you. They're just saying that for right, or like say, hey, by the way, I completely hate you. I don't want to hang out with you or anything like that. They're basically just saying I have to do these things in order to be able to keep my status quo for what I know and what I feel comfortable, which is fine. They're not trying to be negative towards you. It's just whenever you just realize that whenever you do that for someone whose love language is quality time, you are loving them less, right? So take for instance, an example I can give of this is if one of our friends says, hey, by the way, I am going to go do this and I'm sorry, but I just don't have time to hang out with you tonight, right? Whenever they kind of do, but it's something to where it's oh man, that stinks. And so for me, I'm you know what, they got other stuff. But for my wife, it's why do they hate us like that? What is that? And so it's something to where just realize whenever you're talking about quality time with someone, don't just disregard them. Be sure to explain the situation of what's going on. And a lot of times if you explain to them the situation, they're going to understand that. The other part of this is also that quality piece of there. That's the opposite. Be sure that whenever you're spending this with someone, don't be sitting there diddly-dallying on your phone, or that, yeah, that's right, I use an old term, diddly-dallying. Don't be doing that. Don't be I'm not sitting here saying, hey, by the way, Heather, which is my wife, Heather, you should be sitting right here, sitting right next to me while I play video games, right? That's not quality time. All right, we may be close together in proximity, but that's not quality time, okay? But if we're doing something together, that can be quality time. Whenever we rock out a Rock Band, and sometimes you guys get to see Strimmin' and Strummin' with the misses, that's quality time. Right, Aki? Right. So the third one on here of the 5 languages is gifts. Okay, so gifts. Have you ever had that relative that just whenever I'm sitting here thinking about it whenever I grew up, that relative that always just nailed birthday gifts. They were always just on point, or maybe you're the person that whenever something comes up, you're just oh dude, here you go, here's this. It's not, it doesn't even need to be something expensive. It can just be something you're just there you go. How about this? And then boom, you nailed it. man, that person's gonna so appreciate that, right? So, or maybe even take for instance like the friend who normally picks up Starbucks or like always grabs lunch or something like that. Like these people are the gift givers and givers. I thought you meant gifts. Studs. Yes, dude. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. What's up, D-Ray? How are you? How are you? I'm so happy to see you, D-Ray. I hope you're having a wonderful day. We're doing that. We're going through our positivity talk right now. We're on the third love language, gifts. So, and you know, sometimes even giving gifts, like sometimes people, honestly, money is one of them. Like Katie will just said on there, but some people are just like, yeah, just give me that, right? That is a gift. Like that is a gift. And sometimes people want that as their gift. And so whenever they look at that, people who show that also feel value in it as well. So like Jay, whenever you say like, I like gifts, that's me more giving. So like you have a spirit of giving, right? But with the book, the way that it talks about is the people who show that type of love or who oftentimes complain about that type of love. And I've never heard you complain, so let me go ahead and put that preface out there. But the people who talk about it the most are actually the ones that's part of their love language, because that's something that they value, right? So I need diaper money. Nice, studs. And so gifts are not so much ever about the cost. They're really not they're really not about how much you're spending on somebody, but about like the thought of it, right? So the thought of being cared for, like prized above whatever was sacrificed to bring you the gift. So like if someone brings you something from overseas, or you know, a lot of times for people who ask for gifts, like, hey, by the way, do you think you can pick me something up while you're on your trip or whatever? A lot of the times you can get them a bottle cap opener and they're like, holy smokes, like you had to go through customs, you had to fill out forms, you had to pay taxes twice, you had to go through all this stuff so that I could get this little tiki man and pop it off, right? Like that's so cool. And I know that some people really enjoy that. Gifts are really just visual symbols of love. And it's so cool to be able to see those, because whenever people get those, they're going to be able to see that and recognize that every time that they use that, or every single time that they have that. Like it's so neat. Like take for instance, Twitch is great about this, like gifts. So whenever you do subs, like that is literally a gift. And that's something that reinforces it every single time, right? So like, and again, I'm trying to kind of relate this to Twitch a little bit more as we're going through this, but like one of the things that with visual symbols of love, like if you value this kind of the opposite of this, you'll feel hurt by like the absence of daily gestures, or like a missed birthday or anniversary, or like a hasty or thoughtless gift, or something like that. Like if you are not intuitive at giving gifts, but the person you're trying to love on, their primary language is giving gifts, you can start, like one way to kind of start this is to make a list of all the gifts that they have been excited about or that they've talked about. And this will give you an idea of what kind of gifts like he or she appreciates, right? So and like what Pug just put in there, if you want to give someone something but don't know what, you can just ask them. That's a great way too. A lot of the times, even if it's just like the gift, like just the thought that you want to do that, a lot of the times that goes so far, like it's amazing. So like I think that gift giving is so cool. I really enjoy it. I think it's a cool labor of love, right? And it's so it's there, and it's a constant reminder. I just think that it's neat. It's a cool concept of one of the 5 love languages. So, and by the way, D-Ray, I don't know, whenever I see Twitch Unity, I always want to do this, by the way. So this goes out to you. I'm glad that you're here. I know I said that earlier, but I love the Twitch Unity thing. So hi. So the fourth one on here is acts of service, right? So acts of service. So serving somebody. If this is your primary love language, you feel loved when someone says, "Let me do that for you," right? Like it helps ease your burdens, or like the sharing of responsibilities. So like one of the things that we do acts of service for both my wife and I. Like one of us will either cook a meal and the other one will wash, or vice versa, or sometimes we'll go and fill each other's cars up, or or like doing these little, or like doing dishes, or like I'll sometimes vacuum because I know that she enjoys it whenever I vacuum and clean the house. So like I will do that just on occasion, just because I understand that she is partly in that realm, like not as much as the time, but because of those acts of service we get to spend more time together, right? So like some of the opposites of this are obviously like broken commitments, unwillingness to help, laziness. Like, dude, if you just gonna be sitting around not doing anything, you need to go ahead and you need to get your lazy butt up. All right, you need to get your lazy butt up. Sloppiness, maybe like taking someone for granted. Like it all sends the message that this person doesn't matter, right? Like that you're not even trying. And even if you and your friends share the Houston, welcome, and shout out to everybody that's in Houston right now. Actually, keep fighting. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to Neverland. Welcome to the family. And so even like in acts of service, even if you share the same primary love language, you can speak vastly different dialects for acts of service, right? So like I know, like for me, I love it whenever Houston, yes. Apparently you guys may know Houston, which is awesome. The gang's all here now. Oh, nice. So well, welcome. Happy to have you. And so whenever you look at that, like the different dialects, while as like for me, I really enjoy it whenever my wife does the dishes. I do, and I know that she really enjoys it whenever I vacuum, right? And I know that she really enjoys it whenever I clean up the barn. I clean up after myself and I clean up my messes, right? I don't understand how she. Whenever we first got married, there was an issue of the dishes, right? So I was the guy who kind of puts it down there, lets them soak, and then washes them the next day, and then goes, right? And so for her love language was like, no, I need you to get this. Literally, we're cleaning it up as soon as we're done. And so I learned that. And so now that's what I do as an act of service to her. And I didn't know that until she told me that. So one thing that you can do is ask them to list down the tasks that like he or she considers most important and just do them. Like, honestly, just do them. Just ask them what's important to them. Also make notes of like actions afterwards. So like if they're like, man, I just really appreciated that you do this. Whenever they say stuff like that, write that down, because the more that you do that, the more you're reinforcing that, which is stinking awesome. What's going on, Raider? How you doing, cuz? Love you, buddy. The dishes, right, Jay? Right? I'm the same way as your wife. My wife would always wait. Yeah, see, studs. I didn't know that. To be honest, just because I had the mentality. I always cleaned it up, but it was one of those things where like I would do that and then soak them all, and then basically the next day they'd be gone, and then we just keep on that cycle, because a lot of times I would cook and then I wouldn't need to cook for several days because I would make like a big meal. So like the big meal, like I would eat and then be kind of tired, wait till tomorrow, and then just kind of eat it up, and then it's gross to wait. I gotcha, studs. Like a lot of it would just be done anyway, but yeah, I get you, and I completely, and I get that totally. Like now after doing it, I'm glad that I do that for my I'm glad that we're doing that together. So hey, Monkey, it's D. Oh, well, D, welcome. We wore that costume on Friday, so I know that you were here for a little bit of it. So I'm happy that you're here. Happy that you're hanging out. And then the fifth love language, guys. Fifth love language. And we're going to do this with the 5-5 right there, right? Internet high five. And as my camera tries to refocus and not do a good job. But it's exactly as it sounds. So to physically touch someone, right? So the people that you know that are like the huggers, or like for me, like the high five, or even someone that pats on your back, or even does like, you know, like the side hug. Maybe not the people that do like the butt out hug. You know, like it's kind of like the awkward like not like that one, right? Like it's, you know, it's like the people who genuinely want to be there. Like, you know, the people who are just like, hi, like maybe not those people, but it's the people that like, you know, need to have that physical touch. So like physical touch can bring a huge sense of security and connection to like any relationship, which is amazing, because physical touch, it like does something in you that is so unique and so amazing. Like I think that physical touch is a really cool, again, another cool love language, because like it's just that security and connection that just go a long way. Like whenever you think about that, like hugging your parents or your loved ones, or anybody else, like that connection that you feel with them is really just cool to have. There's a clear solution. A lot of people prefer to put stuff, but I personally take it out. Nice, Aki. That's awesome. That's awesome, brother. Speaking of touching, Riffy likes to touch butts.com. Thanks, KB. I love you too. I touch you. Oh, great. I knew that as soon as I got into physical touch, we had to go there, didn't we? Had to do it. Had to do it. Hey, all those touches. But yeah, guys, like these are all like all those different examples on that. Again, like a lot of other ones. Okay, let's go ahead and throw this one out there. Like all the ones that we've talked about before, this one has different dialects too. I do not want you going in there thinking that someone says, yeah, physical touch is my love language, and like going into your place of work and then like hugging them or something like that, and then it involves you watching a movie called Boundaries with the HR lady, you know, a couple minutes afterwards because you now have a complaint and possibly on the HR watch list. Like you're gonna like you all of a sudden be, you know, you do that with someone that's kind of important. You all of a sudden become a dot on a map, and now you have to be 500 feet from a school. Like let's not go there. Okay, so this one can get you in trouble. So you need to be able to know like the different dialects. Like as far as for physical touch, like for me, I love giving high fives. I love it to death. That's even why it's a command in my in my chat. Like you can high five someone, right? Exclamation point, hi, the number 5, and then someone else. Like that, I love it. I love high fives. I do. It's just something that gets me amped. I can feel the energy whenever I do, and it's like, let's go. And so, but like that, as opposed to like, take for instance, my wife's family, they are physical touchers and they hug for what can only be described as quite possibly half of an eternity every time. And I don't know why they do it. They hug, like for me, a good hug lasts 3 seconds max. But for them, a good hug lasts about, I'm not joking with you, for probably like 15 seconds. And whenever it's 15 seconds of no talking and just hugging, like, think about this, guys. That is this long. Think about this. That's how long that hug was. That's too long of a hug. At least in my opinion. But, like, right, counting stream. But so physical touch, just be sure that whenever you're doing that, hey, there you go, getting that high fives in there. That's 3 fives. I don't think my work has a watch list. To be honest. See, like, Jay, so like, yours isn't physical touch and, like with that. And welcome, Gaster. Welcome back. And so whenever you're doing that, even if you share the same love language as physical touch, don't like assume any person speaks the same dialect as you. Like, just be careful about that, because I don't want anybody in here all of a sudden like ending up in a bad situation. So, so to kind of wrap up this positivity talk, like first find out the person's love language, right? So out of the 5, like find out what it is, and then give them an extra thought to love them in their favorite way. Like, just not only like asking about that, but going that extra step. Like, a huge part of success is having healthy relationships around you, right? Like you need that support network, and being able to love someone in the right way it can really cement that and grow deeper roots. Because you have to admit that even if you're successful, and no matter what you do, right, whether you have like a successful, like, take for instance, you could have let's just say that, I don't know, Lyric, right, the #1 Twitch streamer, has like the most successful stream that has ever been caught on camera. But guess what? If he has nobody to sit there and watch it to him, it doesn't matter. Right? Because successes and things that and a lot of the things that you do in life, they don't mean as much if you don't have anyone to share it with. And to be able to share with them, you need to be able to love them on it. Like, pay close attention to how you're nurturing your relationships. Like, it doesn't make sense to keep trying to express love to to your either significant other, to your friend, or to anybody else. Like, if they think like talk is cheap and their strongest love language is acts of service, right? You could be loving them at like 20% of what they need instead of 100%, simply because of like you not knowing what it is. So it's just it's a little odd. So and recognize, just because you have one love language, theirs could be completely different. Like, invest in time and energy to learn the ins and outs of their love language, and your relationship will like thrive like never before. It's amazing. It's great. So guys, love others, ask the questions, and just be willing to not only like try different things, right? Because even if you're just like, hey, by the way, you know, I tried this and it didn't really work out, so now I'm going to try this. Like as long as you're trying, and also realize that other people are trying in different ways, your friendships and your relationships are just going to go so much further. So it's great. It's so cool. And I'm super, super appreciative that for everybody that's in here, and for everybody that has loved others, has loved me in any way, shape, or form. Guys, just by you being in here, honestly, you're loving me, and you're loving really just kids in need as well. So like I'm super appreciative of it. Thank you so much for being here for the Positivity Talk. And that right there, folks, 5 love languages. Learn them, use them, love them. Also, Gaster, if you would like to talk about that, shoot me a message on Discord, homie. I'll